The city of Chicago. It has been ravaged by Transformers. It has been ravaged by giant monsters out of a video game. Now, in 2020, Sparkster 1701 Pictures will have both ravage it again. As Larry the Dinosaur Penguin will meet his match and his nemesis, Destroyer. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. It's time for our GoBot review for the month. This time we're taking a look at a super GoBot. This is the Renegade Destroyer. Destroyer, of course, came out in 1984. He would also be available briefly in 1985. He would be totally discontinued before 1986. Destroyer is one of the more often criticized Renegades, as you can clearly tell what his alternate mode is going to be, simply due to the way his head is. Pivot it to the side there, so it makes it pretty crystal clear that he's going to become a tank. So while he is often one of the most criticized, he is one of the more difficult ones for collectors to get intact after all these years. And that stems primarily from back here. This is the biggest problem to find for collectors, are these treads. Since these are real rubber, this one's in fairly good shape, so I'll pull one off so you can get a decent look at what one of the treads looks like. These treads are made of rubber, and surprisingly, this one still has a bit of life in it. But as you can imagine, they do fall apart and deteriorate very easily. Although there is some stuff that I've read there is some stuff you can use to keep the treads moist, and thus allowing them to be retained. But finding one that's been around since 1984 that still has treads is very difficult, and they are very expensive. In fact, the person that sold me this particular destroyer did tell me that he had enough destroyers to fill a panzer division that did not have treads on them. So that should give you some ideas as to how difficult it is to find treads for a destroyer. But how is he as a toy otherwise? Well, this is something that many of the younger kids of today would never get to really experience. This chest here, right here on Destroyer, this is solid die-cast metal. A fair amount of Destroyer's body is made of die-cast metal, so he is a very solid and heavy toy. So definitely do not want to drop him on your feet. And of course, Destroyer does have stickers. I believe I have an unused sticker set somewhere around here. But he kind of looks better without them, especially since it gives you the opportunity for him to hold his extra weapon. At any rate, let's take a look at some of Destroyer's articulation. He had a fair amount of articulation for a GoBot. You can rotate his head all the way around. He does have a joint at his shoulders, so you can rotate his arms all the way. That was the weapon that just fell off. He does have a joint at the elbow, so you can bend his arms at the elbow. Slightly more than 90 degrees on the front. He can also bend it backward, but that's more for converting him. He does have a joint at the hip, so you can raise his legs up about 90 degrees. And that's about all he can do. Since Destroyer decided to drop his weapon, we'll go ahead and convert Destroyer into his alternate mode. Now to do so, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take his arms and we fold the arm at the elbow all the way around into the back of the arm. Now on his backside, even though it's all mostly metal, there is a plastic section that you will lower down, and then you will fold his arms inside. And then you will close that section up, like so. Now coming down here to his legs, we're going to take these feet and then fold them up to rest them against his legs. Now again, I should point out these are also somewhat fragile, so do be careful and make sure you do that. Then we rotate his legs at his hips to bring the feet upright, like so. And now we gently open up the body and gently force it down. Make sure the ends go over the ends of the treads and down. And there you have it. Destroyer is in his tank mode. His tank is described as a Leopard A4 tank. And it is a very good representation of this particular tank. Because if you bring it up close and you take a look at it, you can see there's quite a lot of molded details on this tank. And right here on the side, you got a shovel and some tools. Looks like an axe over here and probably another hatch. And the same stuff's molded on the opposite side, so, not really all that imaginative, but still, it's nice to see this kind of detail. Usually you had to buy a G.I. Joe vehicle to get this kind of detail on the vehicles, so it's nice to see a transforming robot toy that has that kind of detail on it. And you look here on the top of the turret, you have a couple of hatches. They obviously don't open, but still, it's very, very nice to see. And of course, while he's in tank mode, you can rotate the turret all the way around. And the gun can be raised up a little bit or kept perfectly straight. Now, of course, Destroyer can roll on his treads, and it'd be about what you would expect for a tank operating on rubber treads. We're not going to do that, though, because that's usually the fastest way to destroy the treads. So we'll just leave those be for the moment. Okay, let's take a look at Destroyer's other loose parts. We're not going to take a look at the treads, as you've already seen those. He comes with 2 barrels for the tank turret. This one here is the thin barrel. And it is just a very thin piece of plastic. Might have a sticker around this end here, but this is how it is without any. And then this is the other turret. This one's the thicker one, as it is bigger and wider. And the other big difference is that it does have a post on it. This is the post that would mount onto Destroyer's arms, and thus allow him to have a weapon. And of course, it also has a tab. The tab on the one end does fit inside the turret, so you can use it as one of the gun barrels if you so choose. There have been fans that do show off that you can combine the 2 barrels together and make an extremely long barrel. And there it is in the extreme long barrel, and while some might say that it's impressive, in reality it looks rather stupid, as it's a bit too long to be realistically believable. Plus, also with the fact the hole on the thicker one, really isn't designed for that, so it does tend to pop it loose. It's a little hard to see on the camera, but it does cause the seams here at the end of the barrel to split. So if you want to do that, you should be real careful with that. Alrighty. Let's take a look now. Like I said, I do have an unused sticker sheet for Destroyer. As you can see, it's more done up from the Japanese Machine Robo toys. So that's an interesting way of doing it. Not sure if it was just copied over like that, or if this is a genuine Japanese one. No real markings to tell. As you can see, they have numbers on for the different stickers, and of course, right here on the side, you get corresponding numbers to tell you where to put them. As I said, the biggest complaint that I would really have with it is for sticker number 4, these two yellow stickers right here, because these things would be placed right over the side of the arm, and they would cover the hole where you would attach the gun. So, as you can imagine, many fans more than likely do not apply the stickers because of that. But again, that is entirely your opinion, my viewers, if you should be so fortunate as to find one. And of course, as an added bonus, we have had the stickers were donated alongside with the box. And of course, this isn't that one's box. I don't have a box for Destroyer, and as you can see inside the box, there is a Destroyer already in there. The box and stickers, of course, were contributed by my brother, Cyclonus150. Do advise any anime convention fans, go check his channel out. But anyway, thanks a lot, little bro, for the donation of the box. You can see it's got an interesting picture of Destroyer here, although it has him only using his legs still as the tank treads instead of fully standing up. So that does give you another option if you would like to display him like such. And of course you got the same picture on the top of the box and the bottom of the box. The one side over here advertises the GoBot Command Center, which I do have that. I'm just trying to figure out a good way to review it. Then, of course, on the opposite side, it shows some more of the Super GoBots that were available. Baron Von Joy, Zemon, Defender, Bugbite, Destroyer, and Psycho. And I can tell you right now, there is a screw-up on this. That picture is not of Defender. That is a picture of Hairfiend. And I will prove it to you on the next GoBot review this month, because the next one we're going to review is Defender. We're going to show you the real Defender, not this one. Eventually we'll get to Hairfiend. And then, of course, you got all the legal stuff down here. And then on the back of the box, you have the steps to convert Destroyer into his tank mode. Although, as you can see here, they have him without a turret, without the turret barrel inside. But of course, as you can see, I mean, even the advertising promo doesn't show him with the barrel, but the front of the box does. And in many ways, even though he does look silly either way, he does look a little bit better with the gun barrel in there. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Destroyer? Destroyer is okay. He's certainly not going to be a top-tier toy by any stretch of the imagination. But is he as bad as what most of the other reviewers are saying that he is? Not really. Not really. The turret as his head, yes, that's a cheap gimmick, and it kind of fits with with a lot of the other super GoBots that were being released at the time, as those that were cars, usually the driver's compartment was doubling as their heads. So this isn't really that much of a stretch beyond it. Plus, of course, also when you think about it, the Transformers also did this similar thing of having a gun on their face with the appearance of Lockdown in the fourth Transformer movie, Age of Extinction. And let's face it, in Michael Bay's movie, when I saw it on the trailer, I thought it looked stupid how that happened. Destroyer, at least with him having his turret, having a tank turret as a head, at least looks better. But then again, the less said about Michael Bay's Transformer movies, the better we all are. But again, the bad about this toy is just how the robot mode looks. And of course, the rubber tank treads are a bit of a disappointment, but it's something that if you're looking to have him on the shelves as a display item, then I don't think you'd really worry about the treads that much. Unless, of course, you're a major die-hard fan and you gotta have treads. For me, being a reviewer, I kinda needed the treads so that I could show you what they looked like. As a toy, though, Destroyer's pretty good. Some of his good points are, of course, the fact that he's got a fair amount of metal in him means he's a pretty solid toy. He's going to take a little bit of punishment before he goes down. And, of course, his tank mode, it's superb. It's a very, very nicely detailed tank, and definitely more so than what you would find in most toys of a tank. Even though we don't really get an idea as to what role Destroyer plays in the Renegade army, I would definitely think that he is definitely one of the major soldiers in the Renegades. Probably even a rather high-ranking soldier who would probably lead many of the troops into battle, as he's definitely got the toughness to do it. That and the tank head does look somewhat imposing in some cases. So I'm going to eke Destroyer out into the middle tier. I don't think he deserves the bad reputation that many of the online community seems to think he has, but he's certainly not the best. But he's still a worthwhile addition to any GoBot collector's collection. Anyway, that concludes my review of the Renegade GoBot Destroyer. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, drop me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button down below and join our ranks. Also, please ring the notification bell so you'll be notified when I post new content, though the notification system is broken on YouTube, so please do check out the homepage on YouTube to see if I've posted new content. Also, please consider sharing your thoughts about Destroyer, or his opponent Larry, in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.